Hi everyone, this is Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide. There we are. Despite all the problems and connection and stuff I have, I am doing this video I promised you for some time now, and I don't want to postpone it more. This is some call it rundown. I even didn't find this word in the dictionary, but it's Northern American reviewers that use that word apparently. I might have seen it in European or English websites as well. I mean YouTube channels as well. So I can call it an overview, I can call it a comparison. In France, when we do that about wines, but also I think we can use it for whiskey, we call it a horizontal tasting, opposed to vertical tasting. What is a vertical tasting? It's reviewing whiskies from the same brand. For instance, if today we're speaking about the GLENLIVET, if it was a vertical, I would review let's say the 12 years old, then the 15, then the 18, 21, 25, etc. You get the picture. But when I review horizontal, it's the same age statement, so this is 12. And while I had the chance to gather 5 different expressions of the 12 years old, those are the same age statement, but that doesn't mean the older ones doesn't have older content, because it was a practice that was used, that was done before the shortage years. Shortage of old whiskies, also increase of demand. So everything, I will say, beyond 2010, 2015 even more, will probably, this is not information, this is a guess, will probably have less older content than the age stated, or will simply fit the mix of cask will simply be exactly or more, not less, but by law it's always more or equal to 12 years old, right? Just a little point, because I am really strongly guessing the oldest bottle I have is probably enhanced with older content. But I didn't find information about it, so it's just a guess. What I'm gonna do first is give you a quick introduction about one of the most characteristically synonym of the GLENLIVET Distillery, and I will explain very quickly, because the video is going to be long already, about esters. Which is molecules, which is chemical compounds, but this is a word I often use, and some might not agree. Of course, this is not strictly per se aromas, this is chemicals, but this is a note that is often found under very serious whiskey writers, whether it's Michael Jackson, it's even Dave Broom. I saw Dave Broom or Whiskey Fun, Serge Valentin, to name a few. Ralphie probably uses as well, and many others, honestly. If you don't believe me, just reach out to their books and their interviews, and you will see how they talk about esters and estery profiles. Okay, that's it. Before I get into the presentation of the whiskey, I think I'm going to present them one by one, just prior to nose and taste. Very quick introduction about the distillery. George IV King of England did give the Glenlivet the grant to distill in 1823, and then the production and the official starting of the company was 1824. But of course we know that all these Speyside Scotch distilleries started way before that, and yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, we can 18th century, late 18th century, we can reasonably think they started with this, and I'm gonna come to it shortly. The illicit still, the smash still, what they call the reconstitute, what was used by smugglers way time ago. This is not the official tube, this is one I made myself, because I need to have tubes. You know why, I explained it already. This is the place where I live, I sleep and eat, so I don't want the smells to go into my whiskies. So I did myself, because this one comes out without tube or box, so that's why I made it, and added extra information I could gather about it. But yeah, esters. I wanted to speak about esters just a bit. Esters, and I don't want to butcher anything, so I'm sorry, I have to read a bit. And then I will give you a few references, and of course the guy who knows this way better than me, because he's a chemist, he studied chemistry, is the blogger Romboot from Eladi Whiskey Nerd blog. So I'm almost 100% sure he already covered the topic. But for very basic things, when you do whiskey, you malt the barley, then you add the yeast, then the yeast digests sugars and gives, and consequence gives some organic acid. So the esters, why I speak about esters again, it's because you can find a lot in the most traditional and in the most characteristic of the house style of Glenlivet in the single malts. Way more than many other single malts when it's only, let's say, or mostly bourbon cask driven. You have a lot of esters in Glenlivet normally. So chemical compounds, yeah, esters. So basically this is acid, so acetic acid and alcohol. When I speak of alcohol, it's drinkable alcohol ethanol, drinking alcohol ethanol. Those two react together, and this is then esters, which is a molecule. So for those who are a bit nerdy, it's ethyl acetate and water, basically. So yeah, these are produced during mainly fermentation, but also maturation. And of course, the way you distill the cut between the feints and foreshots, the time you distill, you do the cut, how much time you wait to not to take the first run that comes from the distillery and the last one, the time you cut, you do your cut, is very important. So basically, what can I say quickly? If you have a longer fermentation, you will have a more fruity notes. But then during the maturation, you have also other notes. If you do if there is low percentage of esters, you will have notes like green apple. If you have a high one, you have glue, chemical fruit, wood, also some wax. So you see what it can provoke. This is explained in studies by Emil Fischer, a German chemist from 19th century, who established what is called the Fischer esterification. So I will put some links below. Don't worry about it. I'm not even comfortable with those. What I'm more comfortable with is to speak about the aromas and the ethyl island, the ethyl butyrate. It's difficult to explain. Gives the characterful and very typical pineapple notes you can find in GLENLIVET. Also kind of citrus note, the peach, the red apple, and the cinnamon, and also ripe pear. So we will find out, basically, we're not looking only for that, of course. We're looking for balance, complexity, and taste, and length, and depth. So there you have it. I poured there some time ago with some New Drum Drinker, Aquavite, for instance, coins. So I'm gonna basically tell you just a bit about each bottle and try them first neat and then with a dash of water. I'm gonna start with this one. The GLENLIVET has been one of my really early whiskey discovery. I'm not gonna be super long about this story because it's more about tasting here. But basically what I mean by that is, as I have been tasting this brand and this expression since almost the very beginning, so probably 20 years or so now. When I say tasting, it's the one of those I wanted to have in my bar all the time because I loved it. And the profile has changed over the years, of course, but also my tastes. So the thing is how to understand your change of taste and the change of the profile. And in my opinion, the more you advance in time in your discovery of whiskey, the more you can feel the differences. There's a time where your skills, I guess your ability to decipher, discovers new aromas, etc., kind of stabilizes, and you evolve only if you get into the making process, or if you really dive into deeper studies or try very different stuff many times, etc., and don't have any parasiting things around you. So what I mean by that, if you are experienced, let's say 5 years in tasting whiskies, you have tasted, I don't know, hundreds or so or more, you are definitely, in my opinion, able to distinguish these estery notes in a whiskey and immediately think, okay, this is more first fill a bourbon cask used there than in other whiskies. That was basically that I mean by estery notes. That means these chemical compounds are covering a whole bunch of flavors, and it's a way to summarize it. Right, GLENLIVET 12, of course all these are colored and chill filtered, except, not even sure about except this one. Latest bottle I have from this distillery from 2020, except this one. All the others are chill filtered, but they're all colored. Basically, so it's bourbon driven, of course. Doesn't say in this one if there's a slight hint of sherry. We'll maybe find out. So there you go. Let me take a bit of water. I did all rate them and review them for some in my website. Whoa. From others, I didn't have really time to assess them by, I mean, there's only one tasting note here, but I tried them 2 or 3 times. Sometimes, I'm not sure, during live shows. Oh yeah, a last thing. This is a very interesting thing I found about the esters. This is a kind of a table of esters and their smells, and of course you have all those benzoate, salicytate, octanoate, etc. names, chemical names. So and you know there, which come from the carbolic acid, and how they are divided into different categories with more or less carbons. So it's very complicated, but what is interesting is what they produce in terms of fruits and different aromas. It's very complicated. Better go back to nosing and tasting for now. Okay, this is a bottle. I will also have to tell you about the release dates. This is a bottle I know is from 2013 because it's written in the back simply. 17 December of 2013. I'm not sure you're gonna get it. No, a bit. So this is the closest for me, even if it's 2013. I checked out. I had from almost every year a different one. Not sure I have a second one of this. Have to double check. But this one is one I really like a lot. Let me find if I have the. Yeah, I've rated it only once, but this one is probably the most typical of the flight here, with the 12 first fill. Because I didn't want to go. I have this 12 years old, which has no other nickname. I have the 12 years old double oaked. Maybe it's good like that, so you can check out also the packaging differences. So this one is from 2020. It's a mix of bourbon and sherry. It is stated. So 2020, sorry. Then the first fill, which is for retailers and not supermarket like the others first, is from 2019. Early 2019, right? September 25 September 2019. I will also drop in a collector's item, which is I'm really happy to have. With it's a too long story, but I got it for a ridiculously low price. This is a piece of history. This is a GLENLIVET 12 years old at 43% ABV. That's why I'm tasting after the others. And it's a French distribution, hence the name here. And it is because of some very interesting things I will explain later on, which is typical from French regulation in yesteryear. I know it's before 1979. So it's a 70s bottling and not an 80s bottling like I saw. I recently found out. And we will finish with the Illicit Still from a new original stories range, limited edition series, which is, this one is bourbon, and it is 48% ABV. That's why it comes last. Now, to speak about this one, there you go. There you have it. What I always say, estery compounds. There you have the pineapple, the pear, the white peach here in that case. This is a lovely nose. Typically Speyside and typically majority of bourbon, first fill bourbon cask. This is why we love GLENLIVET, or I love GLENLIVET at least. And I've been to the distillery. I forgot to tell you, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Scottish malt distillery, because if we speak about grain distillery, this is ridiculously low. We're talking about 21 million liters of alcohol per annum, where you can have 80 or more millions of liters of alcohol per annum for grain distilleries of Scotland. The distillery has been extended in 2010 and 2018. I visited in 2018. The main place is huge with enormous stills. They have, if I'm not mistaken, they have now, I'm a bit surprised by the number. It's Malt Whiskey Yearbook reference. Sometimes they say 28 stills, but there are 3 different still rooms. I only saw the biggest one, which has 3. They have also 2 different kinds of washbacks. They have 16 wooden washbacks I saw, and 16 stainless steel. They have a full lauter mash tun. They have 2, each producing 13.5 tons. So this is crazy. They have a lot of dunnage warehouses. I probably think they have also, of course, racked warehouses. Hence the production. You cannot extend this as far if you don't have racked warehouses. Of course, if you have a lot of territory, domain, you can do what you want. But anyway, also they are used for blends. So it's not a single malt only for single malt drinkers. It belongs to Pernod Ricard, so you can find them in Ballantine's and Chivas Regal, for instance, if you wonder. So more of this pineapple. There's some ripe fruits as well. There's also some yellow peach, apricots, etc., which for me indicates there might be also some sherry cask involved, because I sense also a nutty Speyside side of dried fruits. So quite complex one of the most beautiful ones in the set here, I have to say. Let's move on, unless I found something else here. Yeah, banana, but it's tamed. Vanilla, of course, I always forgot. Nice floral notes, a hint of ginger, but it's more distinguishable on the palate. Okay, Slangeva. It's a fruit salad. Orchid fruit and flower salad. Some in tinned, cans, mixed with fresh ones. Some vanilla, hint of ginger. It's a fruit salad. This is beautiful. The only thing is you can feel this is like, Dolby, the old recording machines and listening. This is like Dolby stereo cut. I mean, reworked, tamed, subdued. You can feel if it was a 43%, 46, and if it was non-chill filtered and no caramel and stuff, you can feel it would be more powerful in flavors. But even with that, the first try I noted 85.5 out of 100. I think it can go a bit further, but not much more. There's still a good rating, especially for 28 euros I had it, something like that. Lovely whiskey. And yeah, a bit watery at the end, unfortunately. So this was the first bottle I wanted to cover. Second one is from 2020. It's a French, there's some French information on the label. Vieilli dans des fûts de chêne européens et américains. So matured in oak cask. Chêne means oak. If you come across a French label bottle, fût is cask, chêne is oak. Américain et européen, American and European. So there you have it, and if you wonder, it's from 2020 and you have the batch here, so you know exactly what it's all about. Then, talking about color, because it's adjusted, it's almost the same, so I won't bother too much about color in this tasting, I have to say. Now, viscosity, I didn't talk much about viscosity. First one had medium viscosity, but not, the legs were really coming back quickly, a bit like this one. Things you cannot really easily see, so okay, this one is more estery driven, but there's also more sherry influence. So it's a bit weird to say that, but now I don't know. Whoops! If I had further information, so many things here. I have to to put before me. I'm sorry. Yeah, thing I forgot to mention about esters, what esters produce, kind of aromas and flavors and produce, is the, for me, what I call bonbon anglais, so what can be translated in English all sorts licorice sweets, candies. So English licorice all sorts, it's what comes in the translation. Not the wine gums one I had, and Jim and Anthony and Nikki made me discover and sent me. Not those that are really wine gums marked. This is not the notes you have here. This is more like sweet acetone, which is another chemical compound. There's also exotic fruit that are, of course, I mentioned pineapple, but slightly banana notes as well. All these will come across when the esters are high. When I say high, it's related, disclaimer now, to whiskey, because I don't have the rates, so I apologize for that. So my guess, there's around maybe 30-50 grams per liter, something low. Again, head over to Romboot, who probably explain that way more than me, better than me. But also, I say that approximatively, sorry, because the companies don't disclose the percentage of esters. While, for instance, for rum, and especially for some countries or companies that are working a lot on the high ester profile, from Hamden, for instance, they will go up to 300 and more grams of esters per liter. And I tried some, and it is nowhere near to this. This is almost undrinkable for half or more of the audience. This is very particular. So this, not to put you off, this is still very sweet. This is moderated. If we talk all spirits, if we talk whiskey, it's a bit high if compared to the average bottling. Okay, I've been too long on this again. Apologies. So yeah, more banana than pineapple, probably a ripe pear, more pear as well. Yeah, that's it. It's the pear that confused me, in fact. I get it. I won't look at my notes unless it's necessary. Okay, so double oaked from 2020 bourbon and sherry cask. Sanjeva. Okay, on the palate it's very sweet. Vanilla is immediately in second ground. Finish is watery as well. Pleasant mouthfeel on the mid palate with a fruity orchid fruit, hint of citrus, pear, pineapple, banana. This is sweet. This is nice. This is pleasant. This will also, and I might shock you all the 12 and the on the no age treatment ones. I mean those the most common ones go very well with ice and in cocktail. You can make a beautiful old-fashioned with this, for instance. I tried some. It's the kind of thing I ask when I'm in the US, for instance, or in a bar. Okay, we're gonna move on to the third one, and this is gonna be a super long video. Third one, contrarily to the two first, is for retailers. Usually you don't find it's called first fill, which is weird because if you say first fill you should immediately state which kind of cask first fill it is, and you discover it even not here. This so I don't understand some of you know the marketing tricks or usage in French. Then you go on the website, you understand this is first fill bourbon, so yeah. Still I love the nice, a bit coppery label. So this one is from 2019, and again here is the color, which is adjusted and shouldn't look like that in my opinion, but clearer and brighter. But it's life. Again, this one I like when they do that because you exactly know the batch number and the release date, which is fantastic. Everybody should do that, at least these informations. Okay. Nice nose. Indeed, first fill bourbon driven. But there's something a bit different, so now I'm starting to hesitate if there's not some first fill sherry in it, but I doubt of it. Double check here. That's not this one. Bourbon, okay, so price was this one 34 euros. The double oak had a bargain on it, but it was 25 euros. Only the Illicit Still is more expensive than those one, and it's I had it for 42 euros and a bit more. So yeah, it's a bit subdued. The very paradoxally, the esters are less shining than in the other ones. I don't know why. So more caramelly notes, more slight nuttiness. My guess is there's more barrel char in this one. Some vanilla, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Okay, let's go on the palate. Okay. There's more. I can feel a bit more now. But the oak is a bit louder, but still very nice. I have more dried fruit. Again, mouthfeel a bit frustrating, but it's, bear in mind, it's industrial production regarding to the methods and the amount of alcohol produced. So I'm not saying it's not well made. And besides, I was pleasantly surprised, despite it's a huge company. I had a beautiful welcome there, and honestly I wasn't expecting that. And even before I told them I was a guardian of GLENLIVET, so it's the fidelity club you can subscribe for free, that allows you to go into the distillery, but you have to have an appointment for that, mind you, in a very special hidden room. And if you go there and you subscribe on the west side to the Guardians, if it still exists, I really recommend you to book not only your regular tour, but your tour in the Guardian room. So you'll have a very special dram, like I had a very rare bottle, which was absolutely stunning. And there's more about that, and I'm gonna put a link below on my report about my Scottish trip in 2018, in which I visited 6 distilleries, and I did a big report in French, but also some of it is translated, and all the tasting notes. So please head over to my website. I will put the link below, so you can see the full report and a lot of pictures about the GLENLIVET, even if they are forbidden in the main installations of the distillery only. So I took pictures around and in the Guardian room and in the shop and all around. So that's it for this one, with no water, and we're gonna go now to a piece of history. Even if it's not, the cork broke, so I had to replace it. I still keep the original one. So this is absolutely fantastic. Even the label, the old cream label, which stated Unblended All Malt Scotch whiskey. I love that. That means there's not another distillery added to it. It's not a blended malt. So you see George Smith Limited, where it's still written here, but it's smaller, and all the bottom label here is French, in French. 43 degrés Gay-Lussac, it's the chemist, so it's the 43%, not ABV but GL. This was the regulation wise, this was the terms they had to use until 1979, which I found out. Exclusive importer Gouin and his address in Paris, and 75 centiliters, which was used before 1991, I found out. But because of this GL here and this D, I mean it's for the rights, the excise rights, all these told me that it was pre-1979 bottling, which was awesome. You can find also George Smith, the founder, here. This is a really old-fashioned, old style, old school. They don't disclose a lot of things here, consistency, blah blah blah, mellow body, etc. So it's more about history than really about tasting notes. The tube has some signs of mushroom infection, like we say in the library I work. So I just unpacked it to show it, but you cannot even see it. It's there. I won't handle it by hand. I will place it immediately in a protective bag container. I don't want to touch it, at least without something to disinfect. So it's a thing that can appear with time, and I keep it to show its authenticity, but I don't show it people. I have another box for it. Okay, no interest for that. The 12 years old, by the way, is also written here. Let's get into this. No, it's not this one. And I have to tell you, the problem is I sorted them by ABV, and the last one is the highest ABV, and I'm not sure it would survive after that. This is a glass I had the right to take with me. This is a bit, to show you, a bit bigger than the regular nosing glass I have. This is even better. And this is because I had been selected in a press tasting, let's say press tasting a few years ago, to select the new expression for travel retail. We were a panel of press members and websites and blogs and stuff, and we had to pick among 3 expressions the new one for travel retail. I didn't vote for the one that was elected. That for me was too close to a rum profile, and I'm sure they were looking for that. When I say press, it's not only specialized press. We were only 2 knowledgeable about whiskey, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 among 20 people. So it was more general press. And the most beautiful one for me was the second, with an estery profile very close to the Nadura I have here, a beautiful limited edition. I recommend you. But they didn't choose this one, so I was a bit disappointed. At least my name is not on it. Wow, there you go, old whiskies profile. So kind of waxy, leafy immediately. It's so different. It's a bit minty as well. This is so different. Have some overripe fruits, orchard fruits, overripe orchard fruits. There's no pineapple, banana reaching. I believe there's more sherry cask in this one. To make things clear. Oh my God, it's getting even a hint of laurel. What did I wrote for that one? This is unique. This is, I believe, older than what it says. Yeah, green tea. That's what I forgot. Yeah, I noted some esters, but they right here, but they seem to vanish a bit over the years. The bottle is not as it's half full. No, yeah, a bit. It's in the middle, let's say. Oh no, not so bad. I did send a few samples of this. Now I don't want, because it's the only one I have, and it's a bit expensive now. Yeah, for this one, count around 300 euros now minimum. So 10 times the price I paid it. Forget about that. It was very particular circumstances. Okay, enough digressing. Ah, this is beautifully developed. I love this glass. It's really probably one of my favorite ones now. Yeah, there's some kind of buttery side that's typical from the yesteryear whiskies. Okay, I have to go into the palate. Oh my god. Yeah, sure it's 43%, but it's another league. And it's a masterpiece. Lots of fruits, great balance between ripe fruits and now some fresh ones starting to talk a bit as well. Apricot, peach. Now it's kind of flambéed, ananas. Ananas is pineapple in French. Pineapple is ananas in French. So ripe pineapple. There are some raisins, but very dry raisins. Some licorice maybe as well. I wouldn't say it is peated, but there's almost some funky elements in there. Almost some earthy, a bit petrol-y side, very subdued, but it adds to the old school style. Honestly, this is beautiful. This is stunning. This is 90 plus stuff where none of these can reach C94 for me. If I have to correct, I would say probably 87 now for the GLENLIVET 12 from 2013. Probably say, I rated very low the first fill because it was very bad at the opening. Now it's better. Probably something around 80, 82, 83, maybe more. We're saving the last one. An 86 for the double oak. So rather good values. I'm gonna let it. It's gonna be an hour video, that's for sure. And I won't apologize because for some things you have to take down. Last but not least, I'm not sure. While I saw some very enthusiastic notes about this one, I have to say it's past there, so we cannot call of neck. Oh no, we can call about neck pour. Okay, apologies. I thought it was lower, but I let it breathe in the glass. This one is colored as probably the previous one. It's non-chill filtered. It is 48% ABV. So this one is paying tribute to, like I said, the very small still, the illicit steins that were used by George Smith, distilled by George Smith, who was a smuggler. And here all the hills around forgot to say the GLENLIVET, the valley of the river, of the Livet River. That's it. And the GLENLIVET, when it is, by the way, an official bottling, the GLENLIVET, when it is independent bottling, the prefix "the" is dropped. So they don't have the right to state the GLENLIVET. So if you see an independent bottling, don't be surprised it's called GLENLIVET. And why do you see in Cadenhead, Cragganmore, then GLENLIVET? It's because at the beginning they were allowed to state that before the grant to distill or just a bit after, because they wanted to benefit from the fame of GLENLIVET. And then they have to remove it. So it's only in indie bottling territory that you're allowed to add GLENLIVET after your distillery name. But it just says it's from the Speyside area. Basically, they should state Cragganmore than Speyside. It will be clearer. So yeah, it's the 15th century I believe, a kind of a small still. They state they gives fruity and floral notes characteristic from distillery, tropical, etc. We'll see. It's a third time or fourth time I taste it. But I haven't taken a lot of notes because it was very closed. The profile was super close the two first times and very disappointing. The majority of ripe fruit strikes me on first nosing. Now, believe me or not, if I had this blind, I won't say it's a Glenlivet to start with on the nose. At least at the level it is now. So lots of ripe fruit, but very subdued, very tightly closed into an iron fist of not strong oak, but firm and tannic a bit. I don't know how to state it. So I don't understand if it's non-chill filtered, if it's is it first fill, supposed to be first fill. Come on. It's very frustrating. They don't disclose so much information. Okay, on the palate now. Okay, it's better. It starts to open up. Finally. But the finish is a bit frustrating, I have to say. I will enhance, increase a bit the numbers. I rated it 85.5. It might go a bit over, but in theory it should resemble to, in my opinion, to the first Najura releases, or at least the ones at 48. There was one at 48 ABV, and it doesn't really. It cannot rival, for instance, with the 16 I have here. I'm sorry, it's a bit far. Stunning Najura, 16 years old, first fill bourbon. Mine is from 2014, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check, sorry. My Najura it's batch 0712U, so it bottled in 2012 at 55.5. Absolutely stunning stuff. I regret not to have stocked 2 or 3 other ones. Right. So this is better than I expected. It means it starts now to open up, and it's a good thing. So now I can feel it's closer to the double oak in this flight than the others. So a lot of ripe fruit, some esters as well, okay. So pineapple, banana, and coconut, and I forgot ripe pear. Some apples as well in all those ones, but it's not very high note. Let me try it again before water. Oh, I have even some acetone now. distinct, kind of chemically profile. Yeah, it's richer than before. The length is decent, but it's not the one I expected. It feels more chemical than floral and beautifully fruity. I guess this one needs a lot of time to open up, more than any other. I'm surprised. Because my first impression were these esters. I thought they put the more tannic cask to kind of let people think it was how they did it yesteryear. So I was very mad at them. But then it begins to change, so good thing for them. I'm gonna try them one now quickly with a bit of water and wrap it up. Big shout out to Chris Goodrum, because now I feel for him and I applaud him for going much quicker than me, yet still digressing. Chris Goodrum is the guy behind the Goodrum Show YouTube channel, by the way. I recommend to you. Might put a link below as well if I don't forget. Yeah, I forgot to say also the range is composed of the Founders Reserve that I have and I'm not fond of. Founders Reserve that can be found in some limited releases at cask strength. Not at the distillery, but well, they had an old bottling for me in the Guardian room, and it was a cask strength stunning one. More about this on the report. They have also a Captain's Reserve in French oak cognac cask X, if I'm not mistaken. Distiller's Reserve, white oak, Caribbean oak, travel retail stuff most. 12 years old, 15 years old French oak, 18, 21, 25, 30, I'm not sure, 40 they had at the time, and 50 years old I saw on the shop. 5-digit numbers, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they had a secret range that I didn't like a lot, secret series, let's say, limited edition, where the bottle was completely opaque, almost, and there was a concept to discover it online or by a code, etc. It was named Cipher, Code, and Enigma. Those different releases. I have a 32 years old indie bottling also, which is stunning. And the two Nadura you can see there. There are 3 in the range: Oloroso, first fill Oloroso, first fill bourbon, and peated one, which peat from other distilleries, of course. Because while in the 19th century all the distilleries were peating the whiskies, using peat to heat, to malt their barley, and to there in the 20th century there are almost all gone except Ben Riach, Ben Romach, and a few others sometimes. I think of Balmenach, but I'm not sure Balmenach is not a Highland now. It's another story. Oh, and yeah, Tomin Towel does also, but it's more recent. I'm gonna lose time with that, I know already, bear with me. Why don't I see Balmenach in there? Oh, come on. I know you think, why Greg doesn't know all this, my heart. Balmenach is there, so I was right, it's Speyside. Well, for those who are really newbies, by the way, and there's no shame, I've been newbie as well. Oh, it's so complicated. Yeah. GLENLIVET is there, which means it's there. And when you, I really recommend you to cross all the Speyside. There's a distillery in around the corner, everywhere. And if you're gonna want to go to those overlooked sometimes distilleries there, mid highlands, let's say, which some I visited, it's really worth it, because you're gonna, when you come down this way, and it's under my report as well, you're gonna going into the Cairngorms and the Grampians. You're gonna cross this or go really close to it, and it's beautiful mountain landscape with beautiful sightseeings. I really recommend. I really fell in love with that. Okay, I think I've diluted them all, so I'm gonna go back to this quickly. Why do I do that? Because it's 40, some will ask. Because it's a test for the whiskey to see if it stabilizes, if it's reveal more of its profile, and if it's not a good whiskey, it will crawl down with a few drops. Okay. Nice vanilla, floral notes. Fruit is a bit subdued, coming back. It's a lovely whiskey, really one of the best flight. Now this one with water, a few drops. I hope you're still with me. Thank you so much, people, to be able to hang out with me for long videos. I really appreciate that. I know it's painful, but there are timestamps I will add especially for that. So you can just, okay, I want to check out this one. I go to this one, and then I go back another time to see the rest if I want. Nice, but it suffers a bit from the water. And I know what I'm gonna do after that before lunch. And yeah, I did take a breakfast. I'm gonna mix some of those, see what's going on. Should I put that here so I know which one I tried? First fill with a dash of water. Who does that for the whole 5? Not everyone. I mean twice. Okay, good for him. More esters show now than before. So this one also needs some air, time in the glass, maybe a few drops of water. Now it is really shining. Good. That's good. Apologies for the noises. My recommendation, if you do this, and especially if you switch this from distillery, now it's not a big deal because it's the same house style there almost. But if you do that with different whiskies, I really recommend not only to wash a bit your mouth with water, but also with oat cakes or not very sugared or salted cakes, biscuits. It really helps to cleanse a bit the palate between the two. Now this legendary, a bit legendary one with a few drops of water. Ooh, cinnamon jumps in. Ooh, I suspect, I'm gonna put a bit more because it's 43. I suspect now there's more sherry cask than bourbon cask in this one, but I cannot be sure. Yeah, lots of cinnamon, honestly, jumping now. I wasn't expecting that. Has a nuttiness, dried raisins, licorice, almost some leather, hint of leather as well. Black tea, Earl Grey tea. Oh, it's very elegant, it's classy. I love it. Okay, I will finish it later. No need to say this is the best one of the flight. Sorry again, calling for yesteryear quality. Not always, but often. Then I will put the 12 and the double oak first fill, but we'll see how this one, the last one, goes. And I'm gonna wrap it up because it's over 1 hour. But it had to be, honestly. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to upload that. I have to compress it first a lot. Okay guys, so the GLENLIVET Illicit Still, paying tribute to the smuggler's time, George Smith, the founder. Again, I'm a bit annoyed by the artificial chemical side of it. That seems less natural than in the first fill, but it's closer to this one. And label as well, it's the same era, almost. Good, better than what I expected of the first tastings. But something a bit annoying me. Will I recommend it to a newbie? No. Will I recommend it to a died hardcore fan from GLENLIVET? Yes, because it's okay, it's a marketing trick, but they don't have the original recipe, but it has to, the bottle is different, it's a dumpy one. I forgot to, if I want to show you the two most recent I have, you can see this one is taller and it's a traditional style of GLENLIVET, where this one is dumpy and old style ones, so brown glass. It's not black, it's a brown glass. There you have it. So I hope it was interesting. If you can find an old bottle, not so old, 2013 of this, grab one. If you're a bit curious of more, let's say, naturally estery style, grab this one in the retailing shops, first fill. Otherwise, you can, this is good. Double oak, and if you go into auctions or if you go into whiskey show where there's a collector's corner, pay per dram, I really recommend you to try this. Unblended All Malt from before 1979. It's another league. There you have it. Hope you liked it. Thank you very much. If you like the video and the work that's behind it, please drop, click like, let me a comment, click on the notification bell if you haven't yet, subscribe if you haven't yet, and let me know your thoughts of those ones, of those you tried, and see you soon. Cheers.